All right, YouTube, what's going on, man? It's your boy Key coming at y'all boys with a brand new reaction. And today, we're taking a trip over to Brooklyn. And we got to see what's going on with the 8 Trays and the G-Stone Crips. You feel what I'm saying? We already know how this goes. Well, actually, I can't say that. We know what this story is going to entail, you know what I'm saying, the common things, but we don't know exactly what's going on. We got to see how their beef and how their story started, the different people who was involved, and the different events that shaped these people's lives and shaped the community that they live in. So, with that being said, you already know what it is. You already know how we come, man. Make sure y'all boys like, comment, subscribe. Send any videos that you want me to react to. You can either comment, say, hey, I want you to react to this, or you can send the video link to the email mngmtkee KeeReacts@gmail.com. Basically, management KeeReacts@gmail.com. And with that being said, it's on my community tab too. If you just want to copy and paste it, it's on the community tab. But we're gonna go ahead and get into this video, man. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. Let's check it out.
Be back with a story out of Brooklyn. We are not going to waste any time though, let's get into it. On January 4, 2009, Nashwood Johnson was found shot dead in a bamboo patch off a Georgia highway. A jury convicted two of his fellow 8 Tray Crips gang members of the killing. The 8 Tray Crips is a Brooklyn-based street gang engaged in drug trafficking and violence, including murder, in furtherance of its criminal enterprise. According to prosecutors, Rodney Machette, aka Stitch Loke, murdered Johnson on New Year's Eve at the direction of Maliek Ramsey, aka Squingy, in retaliation for cooperating against gang leader Larry Paget, aka Biz Loke. Biz Loke is the big 8 Tray Crip. The prosecution's case was supported by compelling circumstantial evidence creating strong inferences of defendant's guilt, and the testimony of a cooperating witness confirmed what the circumstantial evidence suggested. Stitch Loke came up in Vanderveer projects, which at the time and before had a strong Crip presence in the area. Stitch Loke was seasoned in the streets. He once had a dust-up back in 2001, where a 23-year-old Harlem man was hospitalized with a stab wound to the back, and a second man was stabbed in the leg. It happened after a late-night argument broke out in a Midtown restaurant. Stitch, who was 20 at the time, was charged with assault and weapons possession after allegedly stabbing the two. Anthony Braithwaite, also a member of the 8 Tray Crips at the time, began dealing drugs and committing robberies with Stitch and Squingy around September 2007. In March or April of 2008, Braithwaite overheard defendants discussing how Johnson may have been cooperating against 8 Tray Crips leader, Biz Loke. But according to Braithwaite,
they got snitched on for killing a snitch. What the fuck?
Defendants refused to believe Johnson was cooperating based on Biz Loke's word. They needed documentary proof. The prosecution theorized the defendants got that proof after Biz Loke's sentencing. In a letter dated December, Biz Loke's gang agreed to cooperate, including a witness referred to as CW1. On December 30, 2008, the leader of the 8 Tray Crips was sentenced in Brooklyn federal court to 110 months imprisonment based on his conviction for possessing a firearm as a felon in connection with a June 2000.
110 months, that's a little bit less than 12 years. He got like 11 years and 3 months. Ooh. No, 11 years and 2 months. Ooh, that's still a long time, bro. One thing that I have learned overall throughout just being interested in what's going on around the world, New York don't play about crime, which is crazy. I don't know how it is that they so tough on guns, they so tough on crime, and they're just, crime is running rampant. It's like the more you try to get rid of something, the more it comes. But 10 years for a gun, like, you probably either got to already be a convicted felon, and this got to be habitual for you, you know what I'm saying? It's probably your 3rd or 4th stint going to prison, you feel me? And you got snitched on for just having a gun, not even doing nothing with it. Like, you just went to jail for having the gun. That ain't worth it.
shooting in Brooklyn, New
Oh,
York.
no. It said
Fellow
shooting.
gang member Nashwood Johnson, also known as Nash, had witnessed that shooting. Biz Loke stated that he
Damn.
believed Johnson was the cooperator. The government stated themselves in their
Figured I've
response to the
seen
defense's
everything.
sentence memorandum that Nash Loke was one of the few 8 Trey members that chose to proffer. So it was in fact true that Nash was cooperating, but it was not known for sure by other 8 Treys, and as we stated, they needed black and white proof. The same day after the sentencing, Biz Loke's sister called Squingy, who was living in London. According to a recorded
Why the
call
fuck he was in
between
London?
Biz
He was
Loke
hiding
and his
out.
sister the same day, the sister confirmed that she heard S in court statement about Johnson's cooperation and discussed it with Squingy, who was upset to hear the news.
So the sister wrote
Squingy
herself
cried
in
when
and
he heard the circumstances of Biz Loke's
he
situation
cried.
and Nash snitching. It was then, according to the prosecution, that Squingy began to plan Nash's murder. On December 30th, immediately after speaking with Biz Loke's sister, Squingy called Stitch,
I ain't
who
gonna
was in
cap, bro. It's two things, right? I understand, you know what I'm saying? Snitches get stitches and this, that, and the third, right? But whether you like it or not, your man's is gone and he's not coming back. So you're gonna crash out. You know what I'm saying? You could just X him out. You know, you're gonna crash out behind a snitch. And they say he proffered out, so he took some type of agreement. He might have got off scot-free just for snitching on the leader. We gotta see.
Atlanta, Georgia, and the two spoke for 10 minutes. Squingy
Niggas
and
all over
Stitch
the
spoke
world.
multiple times that day, including a call lasting about 5 minutes. The next day, on New Year's Eve, Squingy called Stitch at 5 p.m. Atlanta time, and the two spoke for 20 minutes. Squingy also spoke for 4 minutes with an individual named Marlon Kohler-Nutt, a member of a different set of Crips called the G-Stone Crips. On December 31st,
So they cool at
2008,
this time.
Braithwaite, Johnson, Stitch, and 2 other associates were hanging out at an apartment in Atlanta in advance of their planned New Year's
So
festivities.
that's why they say the Georgia
Cell
highway.
site
They had them
records
out of
confirm
town.
Stitch was at the apartment at around 11:15 p.m. 2 cars left the apartment for a club. Stitch drove with Johnson in the passenger seat in one car, and Braithwaite traveled in another car. Along the
I ain't
way,
gonna cap,
around
though.
11:30 or 11:40.
Okay, I'm kind of a victim blamer. I don't want to put it all on him. But, bro, if you know you just told on a case and you know you moving with some real live street people, why are you just coming around and thinking shit sweet? You know it's going to be black and white. And even then, he got the right to face his accuser. So I'm surprised you didn't take the stand if you so-called supposed to be a witness. I don't know. We got to figure this out. But they said they had it in black and white. And he cried when he seen it. But slowly, them tears stopped. And he got on the attack.
5 p.m., they met up with Nutt in a shopping center parking lot and followed his car toward their destination. Nutt's car led the way, followed by the car containing Stitch and Johnson, with Braithwaite's car bringing up the rear. The caravan got back on the highway. Braithwaite saw the first car swerve and then pull over to the right side shoulder of the highway. Stitch pulled over behind him. At the side of the highway, there was a slanted slope heading to a wooded area. Johnson jumped out of the second car, ran toward the last car in the caravan, and jumped over the guardrail. Stitch chased after
he
him
knew.
and opened fire. Braithwaite's car then pulled back
He knew.
onto the highway and headed back to the apartment
So
where the
he
men
knew they was finna do something to him. So it's the only thing that makes sense to me, right? Is you had this feeling with you all day long. Or however, from when you linked up with them, like you had a feeling like, man, something ain't right. But you went with it anyways, bro. I wouldn't have got in no car with nobody. If we gonna go anywhere, I'm finna drive by myself. If I ain't got no car, I'm finna call a cab or Uber, whatever time period this was. But I'm not getting in that car with y'all. Or I gotta sit in the back passenger seat. I'm sitting behind the driver so I can see what the passenger doing. He make any false moves, blow him down, and you sitting right behind the driver. It's gonna be easier for you to tap him. You feel me? But hey, that's just what I would do if I was in a crazy movie. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? It might not work out like that, but you gotta be on point, bro.
staying. At approximately 11:50 p.m., cell site data put Stitch 1 mile from where Johnson's body was eventually discovered, and the defendant's telephone contacts spiked around the
Them
time of the
phones,
murder.
goddamn.
Beginning at
Getting caught up, bro.
11:51 p.m. on December 31st, 2008 until
So this is
12:33
2008, so there's
a.m.
no Uber.
January 1st, 2019, Stitch placed several calls attempting to reach Squingy. At 12:33 a.m., which is 5:33 a.m. in London time, Squingy answered a call from Stitch, which lasted about a minute and a half.
Probably
Shortly
telling him the job
thereafter,
was done.
Braithwaite got word that Johnson went to heaven, which he took to mean that Johnson was dead. Stitch also spoke to Braithwaite and said, "Shit is real out here. Shit real in the field. This is our year. We ain't making no more mistakes." Cell phone records confirm a call between Braithwaite and Stitch shortly after midnight on January 1, 2009. Significantly, while this evidence undoubtedly placed Stitch in Atlanta at the time of his arrest, he denied that he had traveled to Atlanta around the time of Johnson's death. Subsequently, Stitch described to Braithwaite in detail how he murdered Johnson.
What?
His story was entirely consistent with the circumstantial evidence, which demonstrated 1. Stitch's presence near the location where Johnson's body was found, and 2. Stitch's constant communication with Squingy immediately before and after the murder. First, Stitch.
So, okay, this is what I be talking about when I be telling y'all 90% of this street shit don't make sense. This nigga, right? So your gang leader gets told on for doing a crime. You go out and kill the snitch for snitching. And then you telling your fucking self. What you gonna do, not kill yourself when you go back to your cell? What are you gonna do? You told. Even if you telling on yourself, you told. It don't matter who you tell on. Once you tell, you told. What the fuck?
Confirmed that he had definitively learned that Johnson was cooperating against Biz Loke via paperwork that was sent to his phone. At that point, Stitch had seen it in black and white that Johnson snitched on Biz Loke, and he had to take care of it. Stitch also told Braithwaite that he confronted Johnson about his cooperation on the day of the murder.
So yeah,
Stitch
he was
told
feeling
Johnson,
it, bro.
"You broke my heart. I brought you into the scene, and this is how you repay me." When Stitch reached for his gun, Johnson punched Stitch in the face and jumped out of the car before Stitch gunned him down. Stitch had chased Johnson into the wooded area near the highway and, seeing Johnson had been shot, finished the job. According to the medical examiner, Johnson died of multiple gunshot wounds to the torso. In total, there were 11 gunshot tracks in the body, including 5 gunshot wounds that entered his back and exited through the front of the body, and several that went through his left arm and others that went through the shoulder and the chest. Braithwaite also connected defendant Squingy to the murder. A little more than a year after the murder, Braithwaite was arrested and pleaded guilty to multiple drug and gun-related crimes. He was taken into federal custody in February of 2010. In April 2012, Squingy visited Braithwaite in prison. When Braithwaite asked about the Johnson murder, Squingy said, "I love Johnson, but he was told it had to happen. It had to
What?
go down like that. He had to get pushed. Now don't get it twisted. It ain't like Stitch went on and did it. I'm the one who made sure it got done. And if Stitch didn't take care of it, I was going to make another gang member take care of Stitch and Johnson also." Godfrey Grant, aka Krill Gates, another member of the 8 Trey Crips, also took the stand for the prosecution to explain the history of Johnson's cooperation and the gang's awareness of it. Krill Gates also grew up in Vanderveer.
On top of that, bro, if they killing the snitches in your gang, what makes you think, oh, boom, I'm finna go tell? You had a case. You had to have a case unless you went up there for no reason besides that was your homie and told them folks what you told them. Nigga, you had a target on your back too. He's sending his from jail. You're not safe on the street.
He started rapping in the late 90s. Krill Gates is really his rap name, but his street name is Bonton. Before getting into the gang life, he was a ball player. He might have played for Erasmus, not sure. Anyway, even during that time, he had one foot in the streets and ended up going to jail for possession of a gun. He was Crip when he went in too. As far as the situation at hand though, Krill Gates thought that Johnson might have been cooperating against Biz Loke as of late 2006. At that point, Krill Gates told Johnson to stop cooperating, after which Johnson showed up at one of Biz Loke's court appearances to express his support. In an October 2, 2006 recorded telephone call,
so the
Biz Loke
told another snitch to stop snitching, even though he was gonna snitch on the same person the snitch was snitching on. Break that shit down. Pause it, rewind it, go back and see what I just said. Peep how it's so much hypocrisy in this culture that once you get in, it's almost impossible for you to get out. How in the hell are you gonna sit right here and tell somebody to stop doing what you doing? It got him killed. And now we got to see if anything happened to you, because you walking around like this shit's sweet and you actually got on the stand. It said, oh, buddy just told. You got on the stand on him.
Krill Gates that Johnson would have to fix what he broke and that he was steaming over Johnson's cooperation. Nevertheless, Biz Loke declined Krill Gates' offer to take violent action against Johnson. Also around that time, Squingy asked Johnson about his cooperation in Krill Gates' presence, at which point Johnson said he had already talked about it with Krill Gates. Krill Gates testified that he did not necessarily know for sure that Johnson was cooperating at the time of these events. He gave him the benefit of the doubt. That changed in May 2007, when Krill Gates was arrested and charged with obstruction of justice for confronting Johnson about his cooperation. He was also charged with being a felon in possession of a weapon, for which he pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 30 months imprisonment. While in prison, Krill Gates sent a letter to a friend that he hoped would get to Squingy, expressing his displeasure that no action had been taken against Johnson. Krill Gates was released from prison in 2000.
Something that happened to somebody for snitching so bad and you telling, you think that that shit can't happen to you?
After Johnson's murder, but was later charged with additional crimes stemming from a separate attempted murder in 2015. He entered into a cooperation agreement with the government in exchange for a potentially reduced sentence. In a recorded phone call played at trial, Krill Gates stated that Johnson was just talking too much and he was getting tired of that shit. Krill Gates also admitted that he had wanted to punch Johnson in the head and that Biz Loke was worried about Johnson cooperating. In Krill Gates' view, Squingy was standing up for Johnson at the time.
I can see that,
at one point in 2007, Biz Loke's roommate told Krill Gates to put out a hit on Johnson, a request Krill Gates did not execute. During closing argument, defense counsel
told you couldn't do it, and as soon as you get the green light, you don't do it. For whatever reason, you was holding information too, and when them folks came, that's why you told you was holding the information.
Posited that Krill Gates hates Squingy, and the testimony by Krill Gates against Mr. Squingy is designed to help him with his own problems. Yet, Krill Gates' testimony was largely limited to background information about the Eight Crips and the gang's knowledge of Johnson's cooperation to support the prosecution's theory that Squingy and Stitch did not fully believe Johnson was cooperating until Biz Loke's in-court statement. Krill Gates never implicated either of the defendants in the murder. On the contrary, Krill Gates testified that he was upset with Squingy for not acting against Johnson sooner and sent him a letter to that effect, as explained. The government, however, was trying to prove that Krill Gates had something to do with the murder. Prior to trial, defendants requested the jail calls for all of the cooperators to determine if the cooperating witnesses were talking about the murder on the phone from jail. At a status conference before the magistrate, the prosecution indicated that it was prepared to turn over the recorded telephone calls of its cooperating witnesses, but that it did not have calls in the 4 months before or 4 months after the murder, because the Bureau of Prisons only retained calls for 6 months. According to defendants, the newly disclosed calls established the following. The calls supplied a basis to question Krill Gates about 2 rap songs he wrote, referencing Johnson as a snitch and rat, and suggesting Krill Gates' participation in orchestrating the murder. The calls show that in 2008, Krill Gates continued to believe that Johnson was cooperating, and that he was contemptuous of the Church Avenue Crips who he thought were weak. The calls reveal a previously undisclosed relationship between Krill Gates and Psych Bike, the leader of another Brooklyn set, the G-Stone Crips, and the relaying of secret messages between the two men. Psych Bike is currently serving a 27-year prison sentence. The calls reveal a rift between Biz Loke and Krill Gates after Johnson was killed, regarding something Grand did with Psych Bike, consistent with Krill Gates green-lighting the murder without Biz Loke's permission. Defendants had ample evidence of the essential
So
facts
you
contained
telling
in
on
the
a
calls
murder that
prior
you
to
damn near
trial.
put together? You gotta end up in jail or some shit. What the fuck? You gonna tell you basically saying I put the hit out on him. Well, what he just said was you put the hit out on him without getting verification from the big homie. But it be niggas like that who is like, you won't, they won't do a damn thing. If you wanted something to happen to that man so bad, bro, you would have went and did it. But you didn't.
First, defendants had Krill Gates' rap videos, which implicated him in the murder, as well as Krill Gates' album cover, featuring a picture of a rat dangling from a noose. Krill Gates' rap song Financial Freedom begins as follows.
Nigga, this is not a fictional tale, this shit real. Federal magistrate held niggas without bail. This one shootout, Biz was heading back to prison. Nash running around the town proud like he wasn't snitching.
Rat. Pushing the package is what we
Straight to jail. Another self-snitching nigga in these fucking rap songs. Not gonna learn, not gonna listen. It is what it is, bro. How, bro? It's literally, bro. It's bro. The streets is a myth, bro.
practiced.
It's a myth.
Touch one of mine, and it's a fact I react like a savage. Either you get down or lay down, them llamas gone pop, believe me, violate and get X'd out. Surprisingly, particularly in light of defendants' argument here that they had no basis at the time to question Krill Gates about his involvement in the murder, defendants did not attempt to cross Krill Gates with the lyrics of the songs or offer the videos into evidence. Rather, defendants only attempted to play a minute of the rap videos to show the relationship between Krill Gates and Biz Loke. Because Krill Gates admitted that Biz Loke appeared on the videos with him, they found it unnecessary to play the videos to demonstrate that relationship. Nevertheless, defendants did not even attempt to cross-examine Krill Gates using the lyrics or seek admission of the videos to show that Krill Gates confessed to the murder. In short, defendants already had Krill Gates confessing on video to his involvement in the murder, which they did not use during trial.
That's open and shut.
Moreover, defendants already knew that Krill Gates believed Johnson to be cooperating as of 2008. Krill Gates testified that the 2007 obstruction of justice complaint filed against him confirmed to him that Johnson was cooperating.
How?
Defendants also had ample evidence connecting Krill Gates to the G-Stone Crips and its leader, Psych Bike, who defendants allege conspired with Krill Gates to kill Johnson. First, defendants knew that Psych Bike was incarcerated at the time of the murder and was the leader of the G-Stone Crips. Second, defendants knew that a man nicknamed Nosy, along with another man nicknamed Bean, drove Johnson to Atlanta prior to the murder.
Down there.
Third, defendants knew that Nosy was a member of the G-Stone Crips. Fourth, defendants knew that Nut, another member of the G-Stone Crips, drove the head car in the caravan that brought Johnson to the scene of his death.
So basically, these guys teamed up together to get him to Atlanta to take him to where they was going to kill him at. Now, I'm trying to figure out how maybe somebody heard shooting or something and called the police over there. But if you in a secluded area like that, bro, how do they even find the body? Like, you're not just gonna be driving by and just look over into a ditch and see no nigga dead.
The Krill Gates was dating Psych Bike's sister, establishing a connection between Krill Gates and Psych Bike. And sixth, defendants knew Krill Gates had means of communicating with other prisoners. The only remaining facts in the calls about which defendants arguably did not know is that Biz Loke was angry with Krill Gates for some reason. The whole thing with the music, though, was probably just rap. Krill Gates has quote-unquote cleared up the snitching rumors in an interview on YouTube.
What?
Wink Loke, another well-known Crip, was one of the main people pushing this information. He was in the courtroom when Krill Gates testified. In his eyes, Krill Gates ratted.
Bro, when you touch the stand, bro, you're a rat. And when the state puts you on the witness list, you're a rat. When you point a finger and say he did this, you're a rat. You're not getting up there and telling them he didn't do it. You a rat. You told.
and the fallout is also documented online from KeeReacts' perspective. However, it seems the government did not have enough proof to tie KeeReacts into the murder of Nash Loke. As for Biz Loke, he would obviously be back on the street after that 2008 case, but would be locked up in 2016 on a
Damn.
murder charge. We
Your
already
ass
did a story.
got a chance to get out. You get out, and your ass goes straight back to that motherfucker, man. That's crazy. I'm trying to tell y'all, the streets is a myth. Ain't no way in hell. He just got overly lucky because you on the phone with all these confessions. Bro, this nigga's, he's worse. He's a worse snitch than the dude who got all the other dude 10 years. You telling on a body that you helped put in motion. That's crazy as fuck. Now, obviously, they needed him to hurry up, you know what I'm saying, and get everybody together. Without his testimony, ain't no telling how their case would have went. But with that being said, man, stay out the streets. Go to school or something. Find something that you want to do with your life and take it and give it your all. Do something different. It's your man Key checking in, checking out. Don't be like them. And if you are out here doing stuff, bro, when it's time to face that music, when all the stuff that you've been doing finally accumulates to the point where somebody come and snatch you up, bro, stand on your 10 as a man and take what comes with it. Everybody ain't gonna do it. Just being honest. Everybody ain't gonna stand on their 10 and be like, yeah, you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna just go to trial. Or if the plea deal ain't something that you want, go to trial, stand down, you know what I'm saying, and take your time like a man. They ain't gonna do that. They gonna tell and then be so worried about what somebody else doing. But with that being said, man, it's your boy Key checking in, checking out. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. We gone.